Parshat Beha'alotcha invites us to listen not only to the words of the Torah, but to its sounds, the way music and artistry become a language between us and God and between us and one another. We open the Parsha with the menorah, a work of art hammered from a single piece of gold, with its cups and flowers, its branches and flames. It's not a utilitarian lamp, it's a crafted visual language of presence, beauty, and holiness. The way Aaron is commanded to raise up the lights is itself a kind of choreography, an artful act that says God's light is here among us. And then, almost without warning, the Parsha shifts from the silent beauty of light to the noisy beauty of sound. God commands Moshe, make for yourself 2 trumpets of silver, a whole piece you shall make them. They shall be used for calling the assembly and for the journeying of the camps. Suddenly, music enters the story, not as a concert, not as background ambience, but as a clear, functional system. Different blasts mean different things. One type of sound gathers the leaders, another summons the entire people, another signals that it's time to move. The cloud over the Mishkan tells us that God is ready for the people to journey. But the actual human response, the way the camp organizes itself and moves, happens through sound. There's a kind of holy irony here. When we think of music in Judaism, we often imagine soaring tefillot, soulful piyutim, emotional nigunim that lift our hearts. But in Beha'alotcha, the first grand musical system of the Jewish people is logistics. It's music as scheduling, music as traffic control, music as please proceed to gate B. The same divine command that brings us the artistic menorah also gives us trumpets that function like an ancient PA system. Yet the Torah insists that this too is part of Avodat Hashem. The trumpets are used in 3 powerful ways from this parsha. First, they're used to organize the people, when to gather, when to move, where to stand. Second, they're used as a call to arms. When you go to war in your land against the enemy who oppresses you, you shall sound an alarm with the trumpets, and you will be remembered before the Lord your God and be saved from your enemies. Third, they're used on days of joy, on festivals, and on Rosh Chodesh, sounded over the korbanot as a kind of musical signature, a sound that says, we're here before you, God, in joy and in gratitude and in happiness. So the very same instruments that say, Camp A, it's time to move, also say, soldiers, prepare for war, and also say, Am Yisrael, come celebrate, come rejoice. There's something almost humorous, but yet deeply profound in that. The same sound that might, on one day, make your heart pound with fear as you march to war, on another day makes your heart dance with celebration. And on yet another day simply tells you it's time to pack up your tent. Our tradition fills in the spiritual meaning behind this. The blasts are not only a signal to the people, they're also, in the Torah's own language, a way to be remembered before God. When we blow, we awaken heaven and we awaken ourselves. Later commentators point out that the tru'ah, the broken sound, is meant to prod us to cry out to God, much like the shofar of Rosh Hashanah. The trumpets serve on 2 planes at once. They are intensely practical, who should go where and when, and intensely spiritual, reminding us to turn our hearts upward. Now, this is not the only place in Tanakh where sound shapes our inner and outer worlds. When King Shaul is tormented, his servants recommend bringing someone skilled in music. David is summoned with his harp. As he plays, Shaul's spirit is soothed, the bad mood, the darkness begins to lift. Music here is not decoration, it's therapy. It's a tool of spiritual and emotional healing. It reminds us that what we hear, what we surround ourselves with, can literally change our state of mind. The Rambam, in his 8 chapters on ethics, speaks similarly about a person suffering from melancholy. He recommends listening to singing and instrumental music, walking through beautiful gardens and splendid buildings, gazing at beautiful pictures. All of this, he says, helps restore the health of the body and the mind so that a person can return to their true purpose. In other words, beauty, whether through sound or sight, is part of our spiritual health plan. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. The prophets also imagine music as a sign of redemption. Yeshayahu describes God comforting Zion, turning her desolate places into a kind of Eden, and concludes with a striking image. Gladness and joy shall be found there, thanksgiving and the sound of song. When the world is broken, there is silence or harsh noise. When the world is healed, there's joy and gratitude and music. The return of song is the soundtrack of Gula. If we step from the Midbar to our own moment in history, we can hear echoes of Beha'alotcha in the musical story of the Jews from around the world. Now, in recent years, there's been a remarkable resurgence of music from Jewish communities across the Middle East and North Africa, especially among younger generations. Artists like Maureen Nehedar, Shani Oshri, Naama Perel, Oshrat Chaim, the Yama Ensemble, Yoni Batat, and many, many others are reclaiming melodies and piyutim that were once heard only in grandparents' living rooms or in small, half-forgotten synagogues or in the kitchen. Ofra Chaza may have opened the door to these sounds for the broader Jewish world, but now this new wave of musicians is carrying the torch forward with fresh arrangements and courageous creativity. For many millennials, Jews pressing play on one of these tracks is not just entertainment. It's a call to assemble. It says, remember where you come from. Remember that your story is broader than what we learn. Remember the Judeo-Arabic lullabies, the Baghdadi maqam, the Moroccan piyut, the Persian or Yemenite rhythms that shaped your ancestors' prayers and their daily lives. In a way, these artists are sounding contemporary trumpets, gathering dispersed communities, announcing that a silenced heritage is still very much alive. And again, we feel the irony and the power of music. For these artists, music is sometimes a logistical tool. It brings people into a room. It fills a festival, gathers a crowd to a concert or a workshop. It's also a call to arms, not with weapons, but with identity and pride, a call to resist erasure and fight for a more complete, more honest Jewish story. And it's a call to celebrate, to dance, to sing, to share in the joy of culture that refused to disappear, even when their communities were displaced. All of this brings us back to the core question that Beha'alotcha quietly asks each of us. What are your trumpets? What are the sounds that tell you it's time to get moving, time to grow, time to step into a new role, time to show up more fully as yourself and as a Jew? What are the sounds that gather you back to your community, your family, your tradition? What is the call to arms that awakens your courage? And what is the music of your celebration? And it's not only music. For Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, and especially for Sephardi and Mizrahi Jews, our trumpets also include our foods, our art, our embroidery, our scents and colors. The taste of a dish your grandmother made only for Shabbat. The pattern on a wall hanging that reminds you of a courtyard in Aleppo or Casablanca. The way a ketubah is decorated, the way a home is arranged for a holiday. These two are languages of memory and belonging. They are everyday works of art that call us to gather, that tell us without words, you are part of this story. As we stand, metaphorically, like our ancestors in the second year of their journey, leaving one chapter of the desert and heading into the unknown, we too are not meant to move in silence. We move with our own clouds of uncertainty, with our own arcs of memory at the center, and with our own trumpets and songs, our own recipes and colors and designs. May we listen carefully to the calls that reach us from our past, and may we answer them with renewed creativity in the present, through music, through art, through food, through all the senses that make Jewish life vivid and whole. And may the sounds and flavors and images we pass on help our children and students feel deep in their bones that they are part of an ancient people still on the move, still called together, still celebrating before God and the Jewish people.